Real Estate Radio TV, the web radio 100% dedicated to real estate.
Welcome to Real Estate Radio TV, the web radio dedicated to real estate for a new podcast. In today's podcast, we have the honor to welcome Laurent Alix Huguet, international consultant, part of the Simmonds team, to talk about the current real estate market in the Palm Beach area. Hi, how are you today, Alex?
Hi, Tugduel. How are you?
Good. So first of all, could you talk a little bit about your company? What is Simmonds Team Compass, and what is your job inside this company?
Yes, of course. So I make part of the Simmonds team, and the Simmonds team makes part of the Compass Group. The Compass Group, it's let's say a company based in New York, created 7 years ago. It's about 15,000 agents in the country, let's say 300 offices all over the US in 130 cities. So it's a pretty, I would say it's a pretty young company, but very, very active, and let's say very digital oriented. So I mean, I'm coming from the Walt Disney Company. I can tell you, to join a company like Compass, it's very, very exciting to be able to work with them. And inside that team, I'm working, let's say, on the business development, on the international business development, and I'd say my niche is about Europe and Canadian.
Investors, yeah.
Investors who come to make some investment like multifamily and to get a good return on investment, but also some people trying to invest in the US to get a second house in the area of Palm Beach Gardens, Jupiter, Tequesta, Stewart, and Fort Lauderdale for some of them.
All right, so you're really specialized in international development. So you're trying to find investors from Canada, from Europe to come here and invest. And
that's what I do. But as you know, I mean, since the last 3 months, it's pretty complicated to get some international investors in the US because the US borders are closed. So I spend time, of course, to try to get them here, and at least we make some virtual tour of some listings. But I've been spending most of my time on, let's say, local business, let's say American investors. People coming from New York, people coming from California. We have that big trend since let's say since March, of big investors really wanted to move from Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York to stay here, to live for good here in South Florida, or to invest in South Florida.
And could you maybe talk a little bit about the current real estate market here? Because as we all know, in the large cities in the north especially, it tends to go down. And what about Florida, and what about Palm Beach?
Yeah,
how's the market doing?
Well, I can talk to you, let's say, about Jupiter and Palm Beach Gardens. And the area, let's say the market, as we say, is a very hot market. I mean, we've been receiving a lot of demands from people living in the north of the country, like I told you, Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York. But you know what? We have also some demands from people living in California. Just before we met together, I had a meeting here in Jupiter with people coming from Los Angeles to come and move from California to stay here in Jupiter, Florida. So, I mean, the thing is, we have a lot of demand, but the challenge that we have is we do not have, let's say, the portfolio, as we say, is not as big enough to satisfy all the demands. Or that means that, for example, when we have some showings with some investors, the best advice we give them is be sure you can push the trigger, let's say, just after the visit, if you really like the property that we are going to visit.
Yeah, because if I understand, it's going very fast, and it's selling at a very fast rate. And
I can share, just to give you an example. Last Friday, I had a fantastic visit of a beautiful listing facing the Intercoastal. It was a pretty big house, let's say 5,000 square feet for $3.4 million. So I had a showing with a nice lady coming from Manhattan, New York. That listing was in the market for 2 days only when we get the visit on Friday.
It's pretty impressive, yeah.
Pretty impressive. You know what? That house stayed on the market only 5 days.
Before going on the contract? 5 days.
So I mean, that kind of, let's say, it's really showing you that the good listings are moving very fast. So we are in the position what we say, it's a seller market. It's really a seller market. But I'm talking about my area. I'm talking about Jupiter and Palm Beach Gardens.
Yeah, right, located in the east coast of Florida and South Florida.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing there's also a big demand for renting houses and leasing, maybe?
Yes, exactly. We have some people from same location, they want to move first here and rent, to be able to find some location where to invest. And you know what, we have different kind of demand. We have demand for, let's say, people who want to rent, let's say, a five bedroom, 4 bathroom, let's say regular house, let's say 3,000 square feet, but you have same kind of demand for a big house. Although I have heard about a listing for rent. It was a 10,000 square feet house in Palm Beach Island. I mean, it was, and it's just because it's someone coming from New York who wants to, let's say, rent that house for 7 months before, let's say, maybe really investing in a house to stay for good in Palm Beach.
And I'm guessing it may also be a good time for investor to invest in multi-families here because I think the demand is here for renting, and I think it's a good opportunity.
It could be, exactly. I mean, it's multifamily. It's something. It's the kind of product that really, let's say, investors are really looking for. But about the multifamily, what we are trying to do now is really, let's say, to look at the market, how the market is going to react in the next coming
couple
months.
months. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, because nobody really knows what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And
most of the business we have now, it's about people who want to move and get a new house for them to stay and to live for good. Now the people who want to invest, and it's in the multifamily, they ask us what do we think about the market. So they ask us, okay, to identify some product, but they do not push, let's say, the trigger as fast as, let's say, people looking for a house
for themselves,
to live.
yeah, personal investment, yeah.
You see that's really two kind of project.
Yeah, so to summarize everything, the real estate market in Palm Beach is currently very hot. There's a lot of buyers wanting to buy, not a lot of sellers. So nobody really knows what's going to happen in the couple following months. Well, thank you for coming in for this very interesting podcast as always. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast, and don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms and download our app on the App Store and Android. See you guys soon.
Real Estate Radio TV, the web radio 100% dedicated to real estate.